longest-running real estate talk show in the North Bay, The Real Estate Hour. The legacy continues with Allison Norman and her business partner, Stephanie Norman, the newest mother-daughter real estate team.
So we're, kind of taking a step away from real estate a little bit in that conversation, but at the same time, as we always do, we find a way to kind of bring it back and make it relevant to real estate. So we're going to be talking with Daniel Silvera, who is the vice president of the board for MERP, which is the Medical Equipment Recycling Program here in Sonoma County. And then we're going to also talk with him. He's also the director at Home Caregiving. And so I thought, while we have him on the phone, it would be a good idea to have a conversation about aging in place, and not, maybe you don't need to sell the house and go into, assisted living or memory care or all of, those things. And you can bring a caregiver in and stay comfortably at home. But then when does that point kind of turn to where you need a little more than caregiving at home? And so we talk with a lot of people that maybe have family, family or loved ones that are going through a situation where they really shouldn't be at home alone. Some people that live alone and have no friends or family anywhere and nobody really checking in on them, which is a really kind of sad and scary thing. So we're going to talk to Daniel about that, kind of some things to know about, what do they do really? It's his company. He's a director for at-home caregiving. So what do they do, but also not just what that company does, but what do caregivers do in general, and when do they see that it's maybe a time to, maybe you should move into assisted living? And then that's where we can step in and kind of help you with that, whether it's getting the house sold, moving a tenant in there so that then your tenant can pay for your care.
I was going to mention that, yeah.
So there's different things, and it should be a good conversation. That'll be towards the end of the hour. Then, of course, our numbers, like usual, that we talk about. Market update. And then, but really, I just wanted to, the market update we'll do when we come back from our first break. But just a little bit about the Americans with Disability Act. And I'm looking for my paper that I printed. Anyway, it was signed. Hang on, it's here. The 26th of July in 35 years ago, whatever that was, it was in the 90s. Gosh, 35 years ago. It was in the 80s, huh? Joe doesn't know. Yeah, I had it here. What is
simple math?
Probably
1990.
No, I know.
35 years ago is 1990.
You're right. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Math under pressure. I actually really love math. It's funny. Math is one of those things that if you love it, it's fun. Or if you understand it, you love it. Because it's fun. Math is actually fun if you understand. If you don't understand math or you don't get it, or if you're under pressure with somebody's going, give me an answer right now, that's where I fall apart. So, I only in math.
Actually, it says it in your post, July 26, 1990.
Thanks. Well, I'm the memory fails me sometimes.
Well,
Joe.
I can relate to that.
I'm at that age. Anyway. Oh my gosh. Anyway, it was simply a couldn't remember kind of thing. So yes, thanks, Joe. So 1990, they signed this saying, everyone, that we need to have equal opportunities and equal rights and access for somebody that's in a wheelchair, somebody that has a sight impairment, somebody that has a hearing impairment, somebody that has a brain injury, different things like that, to where, there needs to be some accommodations. So there's a law put in place for that. Where that really kind of coincides, I guess, with housing and with homes and real estate that we talk about here on the show, is that, and it's not so much the Americans with Disability Act really is for public places. With the exception of condos, townhouses, something in an HOA, they have to allow a person with a disability, mobility disability, that, a way to maybe put a ramp in, to put one of those stair things that help you go up the stairs that you sit in and it rises up the stairs, grab bars, different things that somebody might need. One of those doorbells that flashes for somebody that's deaf. So an HOA has to allow that to happen. So that's really kind of the only place the Americans, and don't scream at me if I miss something, but as from what I understand, the only place that the Americans with Disability Act goes along with housing is in HOAs. Otherwise, it's public buildings and access to public buildings and all of that.
Mm-hmm. Like ramps and elevators and...
Yeah, and some, so public buildings, commercial buildings, and even some like apartment buildings have access. So, but for everything else that covers housing, that's the I'm losing my mind today. Anyway, there is the FHA that covers that, the Fair Housing Act, and that covers the home part of it and the equal access, equal rights, and all of that and that is, somebody with a disability as a protected class, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, all the protected classes for discriminating and a handicap or disability is how they have it categorized in the Fair Housing Authority. Okay, or Fair Housing Act, I'm sorry. So anyway, so that's kind of what to know and be aware of. If you're in an HOA and you have a disability, you do have some rights under the Americans with Disability Act to say, hey, I need to, or maybe you moved in and you weren't disabled at the time and something happened to now where you need to you need a ramp, or you need some handrails, or you need one of those stair risers.
Or one of those, the tubs or showers where you can just walk in.
Oh, yeah, the walk-in tub. Yeah, I mean, that's a big... if it's an apartment or a rental, I don't think they're going to let you do that. But maybe. I don't think they have to. But as far as, allowing things in an HOA that they normally wouldn't. I know we had a client years, maybe, I think it was during COVID, or 2020-ish, in Fairfield, and she... we started looking at an app. I couldn't really find anything. Ended up in Fairfield, but her biggest criteria, she was in a wheelchair. She had grown up in a wheelchair. She was an older, in her 60s at the time, I think. And that was the one criteria, is it had to be a place where she had access for a wheelchair and she could put a ramp. And we ended up in a HOA. It was a neighborhood, single family homes, but there was an HOA. And in the HOA docs, because we always read those, right? Before you buy a house, that's part of your contingency. What are all the HOA rules? There was rules about parking your car out on the street, or even in your driveway. I think they, like Oakmont, they wanted you to pull it in your garage. There were rules about changing the physical look of the home outside. And one of them was, she needed a ramp. So we had to go and, all of this groundwork and research with the HOA, and they, she'll have to put it before the review board and all of this stuff. It's like, we're buying this house. It better be okay, And then we're all, I'm pretty sure this is a protection under the, Americans with Disability Act. And then the part about parking the cars, she had one of those, she had a thing installed on top of her car where it came out and then dropped down, and it was a wheelchair. Thing, and that held her wheelchair, so she was very self-sufficient, but she had to have all that. So we really had to make sure, and not just do you think this is going to be okay, but I'm buying this house, it better be okay. And then I had to remind them that there's a rule for HOAs that say you have to allow me to put a ramp in, you have to allow me to have my vehicle out front that has the equipment on top, that so it was really a little tricky until you kind of go, well, hang on a minute, there's an absolute that you have to allow me to do this. So anyway, thank you for the Americans Disability Act that we were able to say this
and that just goes to show that having a realtor that knows all of the things and can advocate for you,
right,
when it comes down to that.
Yeah, and
those
to know
things,
to realize that could be an issue if an HOA doesn't understand that they actually have to. So there's a bunch of information online. If you are under a situation where you're in an HOA and they're not letting you put a ramp, or they're not letting you add things that help you for whatever your disability is, you have some rights and you have some laws, and reach out and we can get you in the right direction to get more information on that. Anyway, I think we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the numbers, and then after the news at 9:30, we're going to have Daniel Silvera talking about medical equipment recycling program, what they are, what they need right now, which is more equipment because they give it away for free. Yeah. Anyway, and it keeps it out of the landfill and all the things. Okay, so we'll talk about that at 9:30. But for now, let's take a quick break. Then we'll come back, talk about the numbers. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We're the Norman Home Team. You're listening to the Real Estate Hour. We'll be right back. Good morning. We're back.
Good morning.
Happy Sunday morning.
Happy Sunday. And I was just realizing it is the last Sunday of July.
Good grief.
I know. How did that happen?
You know what we're starting to see, and thank goodness not Christmas, but what we're starting to see in the stores.
Halloween.
I'm all Halloween, and Stephanie said, well, it's the only next holiday. I mean, even though it's like months away.
I know. It's all going to be gone by October.
Right. And the pumpkin spice, they're hoping that's going to come back. So I'm not a huge fan of the pumpkin spice. Are you, Joe? Do you like pumpkin? Yeah. So I
like pumpkin pie.
I like pumpkin pie. I like pumpkin bread. All the things, bread, but pumpkin spice things. I'm okay. But anyway, so it is almost fall though. Gosh, August something 20.
It feels like it, doesn't it?
It does with this weather, definitely.
Well, and we're this is one reason we live in California is it's been although it's been kind of mild even for our liking, but. Looking at the weather that's happening all on the East Coast, and not only are they having, triple digit heat, but then they're getting these flash floods and raining, and at the same time they're talking about the heat and good grief. And it's like, when you start looking at other areas and going, oh, look at how inexpensive it is to live there. Let's think about moving there, and we can just sell our house here, and we could move to, wherever, and on the East Coast or Central, and it's and then you look at that and you hear all of this that's going on. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just stick here in Sonoma County where it's mild and beautiful, and we're actually heading into my favorite part of the year in Sonoma County, fall. It's the coast warms up, which sounds weird, but the winter and the if you don't know the area, the winter and fall are the best times on the coast.
Like October, Bodega Bay is usually
even
warmer.
December, we have Christmas in Bodega Bay.
You never know.
I know, and people come here from out of the area, and they're all, let's go to the beach.
Bikinis, and they're like, we're going out to Bodega Bay. It's like, oh, no, you're going to be freezing.
Not in June or July, yeah, that's for sure. But anyway, we love it here, and anyway.
And I think it's actually going to warm up this week.
Good.
When I looked at the weather,
good. And then we'll complain when it gets too hot, but that's okay.
I don't think it's going to get too hot, but it's
okay.
I think it was going to be warmer.
Oh, good. Yeah, it's the gray mornings are a little hard, but then it's been clearing up pretty good. So anyway, we like that. But yeah, just thinking about all those people on the other parts of the country that are just going through all the things. More New Mexico scary. Even had some more flash flooding, and it's just so scary and thankful that
so sad for
everybody,
all the loss,
all the things,
damage, and
anyway, so moving on, we're gonna shift gears. We're gonna talk about the market. Let's talk about what happened in. It's kind of currently looking at what the market looks like. I read an article about from CAR, California Association of Realtors, showing that really across the state numbers are up as far as sales, and so we'll see when we next week when we're into August. What the sales for July look like. But we're seeing increased activity ourselves. Actually
definitely.
Just had an offer accepted. We've got one closing next week and another one in escrow that we're going through the contingencies and negotiating and all that coming up. So, so things are, I think people are kind of getting off of the fence. The buyers that were waiting for the rates to go down, they're not going to go down anytime soon.
Yeah,
and really all the reports are showing the prices are actually still continuing to go up a little bit. However, gosh, be careful when you hear that when you price your house, because, there's still a lot of competition out there. There's a lot of inventory, and buyers are being more picky. The buyers are coming off the fence, but they're saying, well, I don't have to buy right now. So, I'm just going to look at all these houses, and and they're a lot pickier. And so be careful how you price your home. Even if you're seeing reports saying that things are picking up, buyers are coming out and off the fence, and home prices continue to rise a little bit, just be careful and really understand your segment of the market, because if you overprice it, it's really going to hurt you. You really can't underprice a house. If it's underpriced, the market will react, and you'll get multiple offers, and maybe you'll get overbids. If not, then that's kind of where the market's telling you your price should be. So just really take a good hard look at how you're listing your house, and understand we're not in 2021 where that market people were throwing out numbers that didn't make any sense, but they worked. Yeah. And people were buying houses. Anyway, let's move through the market, taking a look at the single family homes currently active on the market. There's 1,139 active single family homes. That's a big number. It's actually down a little from the last couple of weeks, but that's a big number. I mean, we were just 6 months ago in the 700. So to put that in perspective, in escrow, 342. That number's about where it's been. And we're always pretty consistently have about 300 and 350 homes in escrow. It's really weird. But no matter how much inventory we have, we seem to just have that many buyers and that many people buying homes. 342. We'll see what the sales are when we get into We get into August. My goodness, we have a house offer that was just accepted in Windsor, so I've got Windsor on my brain. Actually, we have 2 in Windsor right now. Yeah. So anyway, in escrow, 342. We'll see what the sales look like when we get into August. Condos, we have 155 active condos in the market with 43 in escrow. Mobile homes, we have 91 on the market with 38 in escrow. Can I just backtrack and say 155 condos? It was 152 last week, but that's a big number for condos. Anyway, a lot of condos out there if you're looking for a condo. However, we had a hard time finding the right condo for our condo buyers. So just because there's a lot out there doesn't mean that there's a lot for you to pick from for what you're looking for. Multi-units, there's 101 active multi-units with 24 in escrow. That's 2 to 4 units. And then buildable residential land, 331 active pieces of land for sale out there with 22 in escrow. Those numbers sound really big, but they're actually pretty normal. Although the 331, topping that 300, we haven't hit that in a while. So, and we've been there for maybe a month and a half or so when it went up. Anyway, that's all I've got for what's currently happening on the market. Well, you have what happened this last week.
What happened from last Sunday to this Sunday, the Sonoma County market snapshot for single-family residential. So for new listings, we have 116 with a median list price of $885,000. Back on market, we have 17. Price reduction 93. In escrow 82. Pending 66 and closed 81 with a median sold price of $820,000 with 53 days on the market. So congratulations to everyone, whether you bought or sold or both.
I know, sometimes you're doing that.
It's stressful, and you did it, so congratulations.
Yay, yes. Woo-hoo! Yes. And thank you to everyone involved, really, for all of those. There's a lot of work that goes in on the side, on the sidelines that we don't see and people don't know. Yep. And they make it run smooth and make us all look good by getting all that done. The lenders, the escrow officers, the title people, and all of the assistants to all of those people. Our transaction coordinators on both sides. There's a lot of people involved in a transaction. And then when it's a buy and sell, it's a lot. And right now, the offer that we just had accepted, the seller is doing a 1031 exchange. So there's that piece of it also. They've got their exchange intermediary on the other side. They have to follow some rules and make sure it's funny because when you buy a house that is, or you get an offer accepted on a house that is in, they're doing an exchange, there's this thing saying, I agree to cooperate with the exchange at no cost to the buyer. And people get kind of afraid of that. It's like, what do you mean? What do I have to do? And really, there's nothing you have to do. Yeah. There's just this legal thing that we have to say. If you're buying a property and the seller is saying, by the way, I'm doing an exchange, unless they say you're going to agree to extend the escrow if we can't close, if we need more time to do the exchange. But the way exchange works today, really, you put your money into the intermediary account, and then you have a certain number of days to do it. Exchanges used to be like they had to close simultaneously on the same day, and it hasn't been like that forever. So anyway, don't let that scare you. But we're going to take a break. We're going to take a break for the news. When we come back, we're going to have Daniel Silvera on the phone. He is the vice president of the board for MERP, Medical Equipment Recycling Program. We're going to tell you all about what that is. Then we're going to talk about at-home care after that. So we'll be right back. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We're the Norman Home Team. You're listening to the Real Estate Hour. Stay tuned. Good morning. Happy Sunday morning.
Happy last Sunday of July.
I know, July 27th.
Oh my gosh.
When did that happen all of a sudden?
I know.
It was just, wasn't it just January? We were talking about New Year's.
Right.
And Christmas and all that stuff. Anyway, we're almost back there again. Anyway, okay, so let's get right to it, and we're gonna bring Daniel Silvera on the phone. On the phone, director of at-home caregivers, the president of Sonoma County Section on Aging, which is another group we'll talk about that we've mentioned before here on the show. Also, the vice president of the Medical Equipment Recycling Program, affectionately known as MERP. So, welcome, Daniel.
Thank you. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling in. And we talk often about MERP and just kind of mention it. I'm always, make sure if somebody says, "Hey, I have this wheelchair I need to get rid of," or does somebody know where I can get one? Always, mention MERP and all of that. But we wanted to bring you on to really kind of give us a bigger overview of what exactly is the Medical Equipment Recycling Program. And how does it work? And a little bit of history about it, maybe that'd be cool.
Yeah, definitely. So the Medical Equipment Recycling Program is a 501c3 nonprofit as of last year, but it has been in existence for a number of decades now here in Sonoma County. It started as just a realization that there is a lot of medical equipment that gets just wasted, dumped at the dump, when people could really benefit from utilizing those pieces of equipment that maybe people no longer have a need for, or, just have sitting inside their garage or out in their backyard.
Yeah.
And so it started as that and grew to what it is today, which is now 2 days a week, which is a new update, I think, since the last time Tracy was on with you guys.
Right.
We're open Mondays and Wednesdays now from 11 to 1, and we're still at 3650 Standish Avenue, and still operating in the same way. So lots of volunteers. We are accepting all sorts of medical equipment, mainly, incontinence supplies, so bed pads, pull-ups, chucks, of course, walkers, wheelchairs. The four-wheel walkers are always in high demand. Hospital beds we even take in, but of course we're operating in a small space, so we have to keep mind of that as well.
Yeah, so, and you mentioned the address in Standish Ave, and you're really just working out of what I think it's 4 of the big storage containers, and so there's volunteers that show up every time you open up to pull everything out, right?
Definitely, yes. So our volunteers show up about 15, 30 minutes early. Sometimes we already have some people lining up to come and get equipment. Because they know that it's, that's right when all of the stuff is there. And we pull it out into the parking lot so people can kind of take a look at things, check it out, and see what it is that the equipment is, and get explained to them from our volunteers as well.
Yeah, that's great. And do you, if somebody has something that maybe isn't working quite right, do you accept that if it needs some fixing?
Definitely. If it's something small, like maybe a loose wheel or the brakes are not quite, catching right, that's something usually that could be fixed. And we do have a volunteer that we call him our super volunteer, Chris. He's there every Wednesday, and he's fixing walkers, fixing wheelchairs, adding extra parts that are missing. He's kind of been a godsend for a lot of the people that are coming that are asking for supplies.
Yeah, that's great. And then I know that because I'm on the list of people to call, but when things need to be picked up, we just recently added that service, right?
Yeah, definitely. So Tracy Hinman, our president, has really been working hard on growing our volunteer base, which is why we've been able to open to a second day as well. But it's also allowed us to have some volunteers that are willing and able to pick up larger items, hospital beds, wheelchairs, things of that nature. Maybe somebody lives a little further out from MERP, and so they can't get in, on the outskirts, Cloverdale, maybe out in the towards the coast or over in Sonoma. And so, yes, we have volunteers that can pick up. It doesn't have to be on Monday or Wednesdays. Sometimes we can have volunteers pick up, other weekdays and sometimes weekends as well. I myself pick up items quite often from people's homes that can't bring them in.
Yeah.
I drive a Honda CRV, so a lot of our volunteers, they don't have big trucks, so we're a bootstraps kind of nonprofit, and we try to operate that way to serve the community the best we can.
Yeah, and I think, it's such a great service.
It is, yeah. So what is the biggest need for you guys right now?
I would say always is incontinence supplies, so pull-ups, pads, bed pads, rewashable bed pads, but definitely as well regular wheelchairs, companion wheelchairs, which are also called transport wheelchairs, and four-wheel walkers, I'd say, are always asked for by at least 10, 15 people every Monday and Wednesday for those items. They're hot ticket items for sure.
Yeah, and like you said, there's people kind of waiting in line. I know that I've picked up a bunch of walkers from a community a couple weeks ago, and I showed up with them, and people were just like, "Oh, look at it." They were like, "Oh, look at that one." I wouldn't go as far as saying they were fighting over stuff, but there were definitely people there. So I think that more donations.
The need is definitely
and
there.
just seeing things being thrown away in the in the dumpster, at the dumps, even if they're metal and they're recyclable, they're also reusable.
Yes.
Daniel, you mentioned incontinence supplies. If somebody, and I think your biggest place you get donations for that is if somebody passed away, they were using those, and now the person, the caregiver or the family member, they just would throw them away. But you'll take it, even if it's an open bag. Will you take them? As long as everything's in good condition.
Definitely, yeah. If it's an open bag, that's no problem. Hopefully, if it's in some sort of unmarked bag, people know the size, because it's kind of hard to tell, and that would be nice for that to be marked in some way on the, whatever is holding it all together, box, bag, or whatnot. But yes, definitely we'll take even open boxes and open bags, as long as they're unsoiled and, clean and can actually be used, definitely.
Yeah, otherwise you don't want people's garbage if it's truly garbage.
Right.
Yeah, and I know that I had one that somebody wanted to donate that was a commode, and it had, or no, actually it was like a shower chair, but it was rusty and kind of icky looking, and we're all, nope, let's just put that one. Sometimes they need to just be thrown away, but the fact that you have somebody on site that can fix little things that, so good. Even if it's broken, don't throw it away, just check and see.
Yeah, it's always worth a call in or just check in to see if it's something that we can do. It's kind of a double positive, right? You're saving the dump from another piece of trash, and you're saving a person from having to spend possibly hundreds of dollars on a piece of equipment that they probably desperately need.
Right. And I just think it's such a great service, and I like that, any way we can get the word out about it. I think you had mentioned when we were talking that there's a new drop-off site in Oakmont, which is drop-off only. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, we're actually expanding in a couple of different ways. What you're mentioning is, yes, so there is the Oakmont Farmers Market every Saturday. It is at 6585 Oakmont Drive, and it's from, I think it's 9 till noon, I believe.
Okay.
But we are going to have a drop-off location every second Saturday at the Oakmont Farmers Market with our very own Linda Sir. She is one of our super volunteers.
Oh, yeah, we love Linda.
Also, yeah, definitely. Will also help pick up items as well. But she is going to be volunteering at the Oakmont Farmers Market every second Saturday to be a drop-off only site. So not for anyone to pick up items, but just for people to drop off items for her to then gather and bring to our containers.
Okay. Yeah, and I think that is going to be a really good service, because
I think so too, yeah.
that's probably a big source of where the equipment is, and then a lot of family members that, when a parent passes away and they have this equipment they don't know what to do with. I picked up some stuff from there a few maybe a month or so ago, but he had his wife had passed away. He had 3 different wheelchairs because they kept buying different ones to work for her different needs, and then one didn't work, so they got another one, so he had all of these that he was donating to. And then he said, I may, he also said he was maybe going to look into signing up to volunteer, which is great. And then he also said, I'll be back if I need something for myself,
Yeah,
So it's really good service. Yeah. And then Cloverdale, are we going to be up in Cloverdale now with MERP?
We are. So we will be. It's coming soon. We don't have the exact dates and times or days of the week and times yet. So we're still in the works of that. But we will have a pickup and drop-off location in Cloverdale, because again, we're serving a population that generally they are having disadvantages with their ambulation or getting around. Right, it's a little bit more difficult for them, and if they're living all the way up in North County, we want to be able to serve that population up there as well. So just trying to serve as much of Sonoma County and beyond as possible.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good call on that one, because from Cloverdale to Santa Rosa is it's a stretch.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be, to get somebody to drive all the way down there to bring something to donate rather than just throwing it away is a little harder. So to make it easier, we'll be up there in their neighborhood. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, so what didn't we cover? So are you looking for more volunteers, or are you pretty well staffed right now?
We have partnered with actually becoming independent.
Oh, I forgot about that. I love that.
Yeah. And so Becoming Independent has about 5 volunteers come every day for the first half of the open hours, which is 11 to 1 on Mondays and Wednesdays. So that's really helpful as well. Again, Tracy's done really well with expanding our volunteer base, but of course, we could always use more volunteers, more people that are able to work at the location. Maybe they can volunteer to help at the Oakmont drop-off location,
right,
or just do pickups for us, and help connect people that way. So anyway, we can grow MERP and grow, the ability to serve our community more. Definitely, we want to take on that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you mentioned you have a Honda CR-V. Mine's a Subaru Forester, because we can fit stuff in and on top. But I don't think we have anyone picking up that has a truck. So maybe I'm wrong. But if somebody wants to volunteer for that, if there's a big item like a what are those? The lift? I know we've got a couple that are being picked up this week.
We have foyer lifts and hospital beds. Definitely, the chair lifts.
Yeah.
Or heavy. Yeah.
Right. So, yeah, that would be a good need, I think, if somebody had a truck and they want to volunteer to help with that. How does somebody contact MERP?
You can reach the number, which is 707-353-3416. We have volunteers that man the phone as well, so that's another way you can volunteer, is manning the phone to answer questions that people might have about MERP. Or you can go to the website. It is SonomaMERP, MERP.com, and check us out there as well.
Okay, SonomaMERP.com. I think I looked up, and it was also, maybe their link to the websites is Medical Equipment Recycling Program.com came up. Maybe that's is that a linked one? But it's easier, and I thought that's a really long thing, so easier.
It is
Sonoma
right?
MERP.
Yeah.
But you can also just Google Sonoma MERP if you didn't get that, and it'll come up. So, so can you say that phone number again?
Yes, it is 707-353-3416.
Okay, perfect. And the current, what's currently Monday and Wednesday, what was the time again?
11 a.m. to 1 p.m.
And address one more time. This is a
The
test.
address- No, of course. It is 3650 Standish Avenue here in Santa Rosa, kind of behind the car dealership.
Yeah, behind that.
North of it, yeah.
Yeah.
Off the top.
There's you can find it. Google it. 3650. It's in a parking lot. There's don't look for, but there is signage that says MERP and all of that. But we are out of 4 big storage containers packed full with goodies. But then the goodies, if you're looking for that, and for all types of different kind of medical equipment. And thank you to all the volunteers that get out there and pull it out of there every Monday and Wednesday. So, Daniel, thank you so much for calling and talking about that. We're going to ask you to stick around and put your caregiver hat on. And I know you're not a caregiver, but you're a director of at-home caregivers. So we're hoping we can pick your brain on that, a little bit about what a home caregiver does, what kind of services at-home caregivers offers, and then really kind of just trying to get some good information on when it's a good time to have somebody bring in some care, and maybe when care isn't enough and they should be moving out and into some kind of, care facility. So anyway, thanks for all the information on MERP. We're going to take a quick break, and then anything that we missed on MERP that you wanted to add?
That we are a 501c3 company, so a nonprofit organization. So if you donate any funds to us or any equipment, it is tax deductible. So we can provide that type of form for anyone that needs that.
Perfect. And that was a big push and a huge effort that you guys made, you on the board made in the last couple of years to become a 501c3 nonprofit. So kudos to all of you that work so hard to make that happen. So anyway, and thanks for all that you do. Anyway, we're going to take a quick break. We're talking to Daniel Silvera, at-home caregivers, but also VP of MERP. Well, we didn't talk about, let's real quick, Section on Aging. Actually, we need to take a break, and then we'll talk about it when we come back. But you're also the president this year of Section on Aging, which is a great group that we belong to as well. Anyway, I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman.
We're the Norman Home Team, and you're listening to The Real Estate. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Daniel. Good morning.
We're back.
We are back. It is Sunday morning, July 27th, and we just finished a nice conversation with Daniel Silvera about MERP, the Medical Equipment Recycling Program, and Daniel's going to put his other hat on. You wear many hats, Daniel. Welcome back to the show. But we're going to put your at-home caregiver director hat back on and talk about at-home care, and really just we don't have a lot of time left, but talk a little bit about your business, at-home caregivers, and then I wanted to get a little bit of have time to talk a little bit about when we know it's time to bring somebody in.
Yeah, of course. So yes, I'm the director with At Home Caregivers. We are a licensed local home care organization. We serve Marin County and Sonoma County. Been around for about 20 years and owned by a family, Peter Rubens, lives right down in Marin County, so very local and very family run. But caregiving, you had mentioned that I'm not a caregiver, but I actually am. I think we all are caregivers.
I know. I didn't mean to dismiss your.
But it's true, right? We're all caregivers of people in different ways. I have a 4-year-old and a almost 3-year-old. In 2 days will be 3. And
wow, happy
birthday!
Yeah, definitely. But it's providing care to someone, right? And what does that mean? Well, care is different for everyone, right? Mm-hmm. It's depending on where someone is at their life, what stage they are in their life, what they might be recovering from. But our organization, we provide care in an assortment of ways. Generally, our population and our clientele are seniors, but that doesn't mean that you have to be a senior to be receiving at-home care. You could be recovering from some sort of surgery or, an illness or just an accident. But we provide services such as, ambulation services, assistance with toileting, assistance with housekeeping, light housekeeping, transportation to and from appointments, doing errands, making sure that their nutrition is kept correct, and medication reminders. So all sorts of assistance in allowing a person to have a little less friction in their life and a little bit more free time to do the things they want, and allow our team to help with the things that are a little more difficult in their lives.
Nice.
Yeah, I think that's great. And then also giving a little bit of a break to a family caregiver as well, I think is a huge benefit.
Yeah. So,
very much so.
Quick question. Do government benefits or insurance cover any type of that home care?
Unfortunately, home care is not considered health care. So
that's unfortunate.
Right. So we aren't paid for by any normal health insurances, Medicare and whatnot. There are occasionally some Medi-Cal programs that will cover some portion of home care from a licensed agency, but those have to be agencies that are licensed with Medi-Cal to accept that. Really, the only insurance that'll pay for home care is an elective insurance called long-term care insurance, which is elective like life insurance, and and it has its own kind of policies and things about it that you'd have to speak with your insurance agent about.
Right. Good. Okay. So, when is a good time to bring in some care? And then I guess to go along with that, Stephanie was asking what did you had another question on that?
At what point do you know it's time for more care than a caregiver can provide at their home?
Definitely, yes, yeah. So I would say, thinking about when is the best time to bring someone in, if you're having that conversation and you haven't actually done any research or information digging, then you're behind on that. It never hurts to have a conversation. There's never a cost to speak with an organization about what services can be provided, how it might fit with someone's life, and how it might benefit them. There's never a cost for any of that. So, I always tell people, go out there and do your due diligence, get as much information as you can, because the more informed we are, the better decisions we can make.
Mm-hmm.
But, if your loved one or you yourself are, starting to feel like, life can be a drag, it's really difficult to get through your day with all the things you need to do. Maybe it's just you're getting more exhausted, or more maybe a fall recently. Those are reasons why someone definitely should be reaching out for some care in their home if they want to be able to stay in their home and be safe in their home.
Okay. And then when you
Yeah.
get into, we don't have a lot of time left, but when you get into the medical need and to where somebody needs more than caregivers at home, then it's time to start looking at other things. And what, I guess we got to move quickly through, but I want to because I want to make sure you get your information out there because we only have about a minute left. If somebody wants to contact you and talk more about at-home caregivers or, aging in place in general, how do they reach you?
Sure, yeah. We have an office right here in Santa Rosa on 2nd Street, so you can come and see us right in person if you'd like, or you can just give us a call. Our office number is 707-575-4663, or people can call me directly on my cell. It's 707-481-3540, and I'm happy to speak with families about any sort of support that we can be able to provide to them.
Yeah, and it's such a great and helpful, just especially, somebody that just needs that extra bit of help. Anyway, we're going to run out of time, so we got to go. Thank you so much for calling in to talk about MERP and to talk about at-home care, and we really appreciate you taking the time to give us a call, and we'll see you later. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye. All righty, that was Daniel Silvera, at-home caregiving. Caregivers, sorry. I'm Allison Norman.
I'm Stephanie Norman. Enjoy your Sunday and have a great week.
You've been listening to The Real Estate Hour with Allison and Stephanie Norman, the Norman Home Team on KSRO. Join them every Sunday morning at 9, covering every stage of a real estate transaction, from tips on buying and selling your home to North Bay market updates. Sonoma County real estate market knowledge from real estate professionals born and raised in the North Bay. You can reach Allison and Stephanie anytime. Call or text 707-799-3617. That's 707-799-3617. DRE license numbers 017-20334 and 022-09237. The Real Estate Hour with Allison Norman and Stephanie Norman. Sunday mornings at 9 on KSRO and KSRO.com.